Over the weekend, I participated in the 48-hour game jam known as GMTK Game Jam 2020. This year's theme was Out of Control. This is the first game jam I have ever entered, and I'll be honest, I was completely, absolutely shitting myself. I watched the reveal video alongside 11,000 other people. I was literally anticipating this day for weeks. The theme got revealed around 8 o'clock UK time on Friday, which meant it was time to start planning. I came up with a few ideas. One was a robot which has power surges and changes from states such as from on to off. This power surge would also change the environment, making the game feel like a unique puzzle platformer. I came up with an idea of a basic colour palette, so of mustard yellow with a midnight blue, with the inclusion of dark red to indicate key items such as batteries or even laser gates. I designed the basic UI to show a status bar, which can slowly fill to signify the surge approaching. I then came to my first problem. How would the player be able to move when the environment changes if he can only move on the on state? So this led me to come up with more ideas. What about batteries? Batteries which you could collect and use your mouse to power certain things. This could be character movement or even electrified gates. I could limit the amount of batteries in a level to a minimal amount, making the gameplay resemble more of a puzzle game. I thought the idea was too ambitious for my first entry of the jam, so I went back to the drawing board. My girlfriend came up with an idea which would fit perfectly within the theme of the game. What if the robot remembers your last input on the off state? So for example, you could control the robot like normal, then the power surge would occur, but your robot will remember your last input and continue walking until the state changes again. I love this idea. I could really work with that concept, but then I thought, how could I implement it in my game? My knowledge of coding is not so great, so I decided to scrap that idea and go back to the original idea. After experimenting with the level design, I came up with a realistic sewer theme as the primary theme of the game. I removed the yellow and the blue colour palette and started working with a realistic feel instead. I enabled the UPR to make the atmosphere feel dark. Then I added lighting to the scene and created a very basic character. I created other characters as well to use within the game, such as character you fall in love with and a few enemy characters. I began to structure out the level as I wanted the character to progress through the game, with challenges getting harder and harder throughout the levels. Instead of making the UI tell the player that the surge is approaching, I wanted the light to emit from the player instead, fading the light from green to red. This made the game feel more immersive, and I really like the inclusion of this feature. When the character light turns red, the controls will lock for a few seconds, making the character completely uncontrollable. It is down to you to control the timing of the robot to help him through the sewers. In certain areas, I designed the lava with particles. I really like the idea of this. I also added lighting to the lava to make the game emit the red from the lava, aka making the scene feel more realistic. Later in the game, I also added rising lava, which could help build suspense when trying to complete a level. I designed unlimited jumping to cause the robot to float, which also made for a very interesting puzzle mechanic. The robot also has walking problems where it can easily fall over, making it more fun and more silly to play. I loved working on this project, and I believe there is still so much potential for this project. I would love to build it into an actual fully length story. After making a handful of levels, I submitted the game 3 hours before the deadline. I am so happy with how the project looked. There are still a few issues in places, such as rushed music soundtrack, which I created from scratch, and a few broken moments within the game. If I had more time, I would try and perfect the levels a little bit more. Things felt a little bit unbalanced, but I felt like if I had a bit more time to my levels, I could make it work and play perfectly. I was also looking to do a boss fight, which I believe would work perfectly within my game. When submitting the game, I tried to upload it as a HTML file, but I had problems with the game not loading. I could only get it to download instead. So if you want to check out the game, the link is down in the description below. It is so much fun to play, and just let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, guys. See you in the next one.